This is Boxes and Briefs, a podcast with real-life business stories. But we will be asking the hard questions and challenging traditions. So broaden your thinking with fresh perspectives and solve problems for business success. Hello and welcome to another episode of Boxes and Briefs. My name is Lisa Garrett.
I'm Tori Munya.
And today we're talking about performing under pressure with Carley Nicholson. Hi, Carley.
Yeah, hi.
How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm catching up to you, I think. Tell us, why are you here today?
Why am I here today? To talk about staying peaceful under pressure so
Yes.
that we can show up as the best version of ourselves.
Excellent. I love the way that that's phrased.
Mm-hmm.
The best version of ourselves
Yep.
all the time, even under pressure. So what is your why? Why do you get out of bed in the morning and do this?
Oh, I love that question. I've actually discovered that my personal mission is to help people live longer, happier, healthier lives. And I've been in this space for the last few years now, and I love it, and I've seen the difference that it can make on people. And I've realised that my sweet spot too is working in workplaces, working with teams of people. I love working with groups of people, and it's that correlation between individual well-being, but also teams, organisations, but also the impact that has on families and communities, that ripple effect.
Yeah,
true. So I love having a positive impact on people's lives. It's cheesy, but it's true. Yeah.
No, I love that. Positive impact on the one person, but then it affects many other people.
Absolutely.
So it has an ongoing effect like that. Okay, so when it comes to peace under pressure, performing under pressure, the reason why we're talking about it is that a lot of companies are like, oh no, I need more money to come in the door. They put the pressure on. We've either got to get more sales, we've got to get work done faster, anything like that, and it gets pushed onto the team. So what is your worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario. Look, first of all, I want to acknowledge you're absolutely right, Lisa, about that pressure that's coming on from different angles. And what I'm hearing right across the board, and I work with organisations right around New Zealand, is that actually I don't know any teams that aren't under pressure at the moment. Everyone's got stuff going on, and we're expected to do more with less. Everyone's struggling. So what does a worst case scenario look like? There's no doubt that when we're under pressure for a sustained period of time, that it can lead to health issues. It affects our decision making, our creativity. It affects relationships. Actually, is one thing I'm particularly interested in, is about when are we able to communicate effectively with others, both at work and at home. Obviously, burnout is a real worst case scenario as well, and that's not great. That's not something you can just take a long weekend and catch up on your sleep.
It's
and
like it's
recover
trending though, isn't it?
It's
Unfortunately.
It is. It is. So there's different types of worst case scenario. You also, for organisations, losing their best people when the pressure's just too much, and they'll go, actually, is this worth it? What does this look like for me? And so losing your best people.
And imagine the ripple effect on that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we want to look after our people in the workplace, keep the best people, keep them engaged, keep them productive. It gets the best out of them. Yeah. But I'd also like to think it helps them go home as the best version of themselves. So in businesses, I find that there's big pressure on people to show up to work with energy, with productivity, showing up as the best version of themselves. But what about when they go home?
Yes.
And I'm actually hearing some really scary stories of people who show up to work, they're given it all they've got, and they get home and they're exhausted.
And they're speaking to their partners like shit, or
Correct.
like, I mean, I know that I experienced that from mine, and then I probably do the same thing, but you never put it down to that. No. Is it to being like, you've used all your energy at work all day and this is why I'm like this? I feel like.
So are you saying that there's a way where you can be the best version of yourself at work and at home?
Absolutely. And that's what I've been looking for. Oh, that's given me goosebumps, actually. Because I've done my time as being a general manager, as being a director, as having that level of responsibility on me, and going, actually, what if we could keep our best people, keep them engaged, bring out the best of them, but also make sure that they go home so that they can have a beautiful relationship with their partners, their kids, their friends, so that they still have the energy to do their favourite things, their hobbies, their interests.
Life.
Then we actually all win. We all benefit from that.
So true. Okay, so when it comes to pressure, what's the common sense tip? The thing that everybody seems to overlook, and they hear it and they go, of course. What's that thing?
It's the importance of recovery. I call it rest, recharge, recover.
Mm-hmm.
And it's common sense, because if you look at high performers globally, no matter what area they're in, whether they're sports people or business people, the most successful people, the high performers, build an intentional recovery.
Yeah.
They're not machines, they're not robots. They don't go at full speed all day, every day. They might look like it, but the most successful people actually build in intentional rest recovery periods. And that could look slightly different for each of us.
Yeah.
But even at a simple sense, when I'm working with business leaders, and here's a common one for you, I hear people who are sitting at their desk 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and they love what they do. They're really good at what they do. They're passionate about it. And I go, great. But what does your evening look like? Do you end up crashing and burning and sitting on the couch all night because you haven't got energy? Or what if you took a break? Every 90 minutes, take a break, even if it's just 2 minutes, and you'd be amazed at the number of people who go, oh, I'm too busy. I hate the word busy. I'm too busy to take a break. And I go, okay, what about lunch? And it's at the desk, shoveling it in. So I've challenged these people and said, how about you just take 2 minutes? Better still take 5.
So does that count as part of the taking recovery?
Rest, recharge, recover. But the
even
key,
those 2 little minutes.
Even 2 minutes. And ideally do the opposite of what you have been doing. So if you've been sitting at your computer for the last 90 minutes, even if you're in the middle of something, right, go step outside, get some fresh air, get a glass of water, stand, stretch, get away from the screen. And here's my little tip. I call it return on time invested. So the idea is that even if you took 5 minutes out, you'd get more than that back.
True.
In productivity, performance, problem solving.
Very true.
So I did this myself when I worked in the IT industry. Lunchtime every day, I'd do 10 minutes around the block. On a good day, 20 minutes.
What I do as well.
20 minutes. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. But when I came back, and you might have experienced this too, you come back and you go, whoa, actually, that time
I'm
out,
ready.
I've just got a new idea, I'm ready, I'm energized, return on time invested. And again, otherwise you get diminishing returns. The longer you try and go, you're like a battery. You're not a robot or a machine, you're a battery. And your energy levels
you have to recharge.
So my top tip is, how do you rest, recharge, recover during the day and overnight? So fun fact, you have what's called an ultradian rhythm. So your circadian rhythm is your 24-hour body clock. Your ultradian rhythm is another clock within that runs every 90 minutes. So ideally if you go peak productivity, performance, thinking ability, and then you actually start to drop off, which is why, roughly morning tea time, take a break, lunchtime, take a break, afternoon tea, every 90 minutes. And if you're not sure, check in with yourself, but it's interesting to see how this goes. And that's where your sleep patterns follow that 90-minute cycle as well. So my top tip is actually every 90 minutes, have you taken a break? And you might be pleasantly surprised at what that does to rest, recharge, recover.
Okay, homework.
It's simple.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
The hardest thing is actually almost giving yourself permission.
Yes.
Giving yourself permission and know it will be worth it.
Yeah. Okay, well, regarding pressure in the workplace, what are the trends, or what is it that we're not going to see coming?
Ooh. Look, I wish I had a crystal ball. I'm going to flip that around a little bit and say what I'd like to see happening more of in the future is a term called chrono working, which is where we actually work to our own rhythms, to when we're most energized. And obviously this is only going to work for some roles, some sectors. Not all industries are going to work with this, but where you can, having the flexibility, having the autonomy to choose when are you at your best and work to those rhythms rather than the 9 to 5, which I think is going.
I noticed that my brain is best for strategic thinking at around 10 to 11.
Boom, there you go.
So that's where I do my strategy work. Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's checking in with yourself. And I've seen this firsthand. Now, I didn't understand this a few years ago when I was leading a team and we had standard hours of 8:30 to 5.
Yep.
And I had a couple of my team come in at 8:30 in the morning and they were useless for the first 2 hours. I don't think they got anything done. You couldn't have a conversation with them. But if they had a challenge to work on at 10 or 11 at night, they were all in. It was amazing what they could do. And I couldn't get my head around that at the time.
Yeah.
But now I understand if we give people a little bit more autonomy where it's relevant for their type of role and let them go, actually, if this is where you work best, particularly now around other commitments, children or whatever, families, other commitments, when are you most energised? When are we going to get the best out of you? And I'd like to think that we start to move away from being paid for our hours, the number of hours we